John, so I'm just going to interject here on behalf of the entire group. Thank you for all the effort you have put into the Zoom Fest, setting up the photo files, doing all the behind the scenes work to
Yeah.
make it happen for us all. So thank you very much,
Oh,
John
my pleasure.
Tibbetts.
My
All
pleasure. You
right.
guys are easy to work with. I wish everybody at work was easy to work with.
And if you need to reach John, you can reach him at Susquehanna 2222, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what is going on here? It's March 4th. It's the last gasp of winter, maybe, and here we are for our first March Zoom. So this evening, we are fortunate. Lloyd Spivey has generously going to give us a presentation. Has generously donated his time and will show us some of his neat, unusual radios, Arvin's and Temple, which have kind of a unique niche in radio collecting. So Arvin's famous for a lot of things, but especially those little tiny metal radios. But they certainly made a ton of stuff for Sears, and were a pretty prolific manufacturer. The famous and very pricey now Rhythm Babies and Rhythm Maids and et cetera, et cetera. And Temple again with I believe they were out of Connecticut. Lloyd, you certainly connect me if I'm wrong, and I probably am, but I believe they manufacture down in Connecticut, and you don't see a heck of a lot of them. So without further ado this evening, we're going to turn it over to Lloyd, and a little later on, if anybody has anything unique, which is sort of the general theme of our Zoom this evening with Lloyd, we can share it with the rest of the group. So, Lloyd, please take it away, and thanks for doing it.
All right, thank you. First of all, I thought we'd, since Paul has talked about WBZ, one of the things that came to mind in addition to collecting radios, we collect radio match covers. And I just happened to look for a WBZ, and I have one. And see if we can
There
everybody make that out okay?
is the BZA. There we go. There's BZ.
Okay.
Very
Pretty
See,
nice.
cool.
I can't tell my left from my right here. Okay.
That's quite all right, Lloyd.
Well, we can see it even if it's upside down. They look like they're in remarkable shape too. So,
They look
But
grand.
anyway, there's also, in addition to WBZ, the rest of this page is actually New England-based covers as well. Let me start
very
here.
cool. Very cool.
WLAW. Yeah, they're in beautiful condition. They look like they're brand new.
What a great call sign, WLAW. Law
Yeah,
Radio. Oh, I love it.
radio. Now, I wonder how many stations are even exist anymore.
I don't know. That would be a good question. My first question was, uh, what stations are actually still operating? For these, and I have no idea what the age group is. In fact, I've got, talking about WBZ, I have
4 or 5.
a cover from the motel where WBZ was originally located, had their studios there in Boston. So one of the questions that I had, since we're talking about New England-based entities, was this one about the Champion Works in Danvers, Massachusetts. See if we can get this on here.
Let's
You
see.
see that okay?
Champion Works. Eh?
Champion Works in Danvers.
What is there a photograph of a machine or an item there? I can't quite in the light. I
Let
can't
me
quite
turn
see.
this light on and see if this helps. Does that help at all?
If you just hold it straight for just a second, you know what it is? Sometimes we get the reflection off the plastic thing, but
Okay.
yeah, it does look like a machine. Actually,
Okay,
if you flip, are you able to flip it like 90 degrees? Because maybe.
Yeah, in fact, you can, either way, this is actually a box of tubes, radio tubes.
Really
That's what that is.
interesting.
Okay, so this is
Oh,
what
yeah.
I can. This is what I can tell you, Mr. Spivey. So, and don't ask me why or how I know these things. So, in Danvers, Mass, the Hytron Radio Tube Manufacturing Company had a facility. In addition, they also manufactured any of the CBS branded tubes.
Right.
It was CBS Hytron for a while. It was also one heck of a toxic waste recovery site, from what I
I'm sure it
understand.
was. I'm sure it was.
Shortly, after the place closed down and was fallow for so long, and then they decided to try to build some other things there. But that's the connection with Danvers, Mass, as far as I can tell, with radio.
Okay.
Was the manufacturer of the chip. I mean, Hytron, is a pretty decent name. I mean, I wouldn't turn them down. They may have
Right.
also made, I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember those little manufacturers codes so you could tell who made all these tubes for the different radio makers. They may have had some private label stuff in
Right.
addition to the CBS stuff. But yes, Danvers, Mass. And also, I don't know if you have one, if you have a Raytheon match book cover. Raytheon got their start right down in Cambridge, Mass, and had a tube factory in Waltham, where my mother's cousin worked. She took the bus from Roxbury to go out to Waltham to make radio tubes because it was wartime, and they were hiring nimble-fingered women who could go out there and help them manipulate a lot of small parts, and she was paid quite well for it, from what I understand. And Raytheon, from the light of the gods, is the interpretation of Raytheon. So started right here in Cambridge. So yes, Mr. Spivey, thank you for the New England twist.
There's Hytron.
Oh, let's take a look.
Can you see it?
It is yeah, no, you can see it okay. It is that it's to see if we can get you, maybe you can speak towards the mic, Lloyd, so that we get on the recording. I can see you.
Yeah, we get the speaker view.
We can get
Okay,
the speaker.
Yeah,
Go
there's a
ahead,
Hytron there.
Yep, I can see that. That's a nice color. I like that color combination too.
Hey, gentlemen, may I ask a question?
Sure.
The presenter is trying to show something, and during all these oohs and ahs and comments, all we see is your big face and not the thing that's being presented, especially if you're on speaker view. Is there a way?
Maybe I could suggest a way to fix that. If you right-click on the presenter, right-click on the presenter screen and select pin, and that will make the presenter screen stay for you.
Yeah.
Yes, it
That's
does,
a good
Mr.
point.
Pereira.
Just did
Thank
it.
you.
Good tip, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, the other thing too is the host can mute everybody and unmute the presenter.
That's true. I will do this. I will keep people open as long as we don't have too much background noise. If we start picking up, I'll do that. In general, if you have background noise, if you're in a quiet room, I'm not going to worry too much. But if you're in a noisy area, if you could just mute yourself. But that was a great tip, Tom. Thank you. This is much better.
The pin function works for me.
Yeah, I have it pinned on my side. So Lloyd, if you would indulge us again, just for the benefit of people who missed the Hytron.
Sure, not a problem.
And the other thing, Lloyd, you can tell us if you would prefer to give us your presentation in sort of a monologue format, and we can open it up for questions, or if you would like us to leave it available, for people to make a comment, you tell us.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter to me. It's just when you see something of interest, you want to question, go ahead and ask a question. Let's go back to the Hytron. Here's.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting. Actually, you know what? Could you also flip it 180 degrees so you can see the upright? There you go. Thank you, Lloyd. Oh yeah, there it is. Very interesting.
You were talking about, of course, Danvers, Massachusetts, with its own becoming Hytron. Of course, here in Kentucky, we have the world famous Kenrad Group.
Kenrad, yes, we do. Prolific manufacturer and made a ton of stuff. A lot of those VT tubes that came out during the war were Kenrad manufactured. Good stuff.
Actually, about that distance is about the best picture, I think.
That's
Lloyd.
perfect.
Yeah,
yes.
if you hold it about that.
Okay, I wasn't sure what you can see and what you can't see.
No,
I think when you bring it closer, you get
distance.
that reflection off of your camera light.
Okay.
Now, Lloyd, maybe you could answer this. Are you aware, did Kenrad also make some lighting equipment, light bulbs, that type of thing?
Yes. Early on, that's what they started with.
Then
and then they ended up getting a contract from General Electric, which of course they eventually became General Electric. GE bought them out. in the 50s.
Oh, that's nice and clear.
Oh, Owensboro plant. Yep, beauty.
And gee, that's beautiful.
I'm sure the guy who landed the GE deal got a couple of extra drachmas in his paycheck.
There are some more New England-based radio stations.
ELI, I think that's still around. At least I thought so.
New London, Connecticut.
Yeah, the call sign seems familiar to me. I could be wrong. I don't know if anyone knows. Anyone from Connecticut here? Oh, they have Bob Harris's Connecticut, right? Nice. Now, how did you stumble upon these? Do you just, go to shows or something, Lloyd, or you buy them on eBay or what?
Flea markets.
Every bit of it is eBay.
Hey guys, every time you, John, and Paul talk, you grab the screen and knock Lloyd out.
That's why you have to pin Lloyd.
Yeah,
How do you do it?
put your cursor on Lloyd's picture, hit your right mouse click, and it'll give you, there's an add pin about 4 entries down in your menu. And
It doesn't.
Sorry?
It doesn't do it for me.
No.
Get outside of the speaker view. First go to the thing where you get to see all of the participants, and then go on to Lloyd's frame and then do the right click, or else hit the little 3 dots up in the corner.
Yep.
Bill, you'll see a little blue box in the upper right-hand corner appear when you mouse over it.
Yep.
Here's a
Okay,
couple
I
of,
got it. Thank you.
here's some
All right, Bill.
ELI is still in business. It's been actually in New Haven for as long as I go back, which is into the early 1950s down in Connecticut.
Okay. Okay, I thought so. So
Atwater, Kent.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh,
And these are in great shape. I mean, they're not what, somebody might expect from that era. You say, gee, let me show you some matchbooks. I mean, these look fresh out of the box.
I know. And these are original. It's remarkable.
All I need is my lucky strikes and we'd be good to go.
Yeah. There we go. Bob just gave us his 960 WELI. It's New Haven's news, weather, and traffic station, and features Vinny Penn in the morning. Let's see. Now, what are we looking at there, Lloyd?
We have a Bremer Tully and a Brunswick, and this particular match cover is a full match cover.
Oh, interesting.
And then the one below it is the only thing that says Bullville Radio that I could ever find.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't see those too often. First to me, really.
I think we have some Crosley fans.
Oh, you share.
Look at a little Crosley here.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. I like it. Hey, could you turn that 90 degrees so we see the ones at the bottom for you?
Yeah, there's one on the bottom that almost appears to have is it a price for a radio? Does it say $7.99 or is that a call sign from somewhere?
Let's see. Yeah. I like it though. I like the little nice little emblem of the nice picture of the radio. That's very nice.
Make a nice business card background.
I agree.
Powell would be pleased.
Yes.
More Crosley.
Oh yeah. Okay.
WLW. There we go.
Yeah.
And they do put pricing on there. Interesting.
So they
That's
do.
probably from a particular model year.
Yeah, some of these on Crosley are from actually Goldsmith Brothers in
I
New
see.
York.
So then
Oh,
they
yeah,
would
so they-
use, with permission, use the logo and then advertise the individual sets.
I like it. Those are really nice.
Cunningham.
Oh, yeah. Where are those at the bottom? Are those Cunninghams as well there, Lloyd?
No, they are, well, they are. They're actually Cunningham Radiotrons.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's the two. It's usually if you hold it right around there, so we seem to get the maximum light and reasonable resolution. That's great. I just love the artistry that went into all of that.
This is some CBS tubes.
That is very nice. That's great.
Do you remove the matches from those covers?
I do if I get a match cover that's actually full, because all I'm interested in keeping is the cover itself. What you run into a lot of times, a lot of people will tear off or clip off the strikers.
Yes.
And cutting those off is like cutting off a knob on your radio.
Yeah.
You know, you want the full thing. You want the full picture.
Sure.
That's the way it comes.
So
This
what
is
do we
Emerson.
have here? Which of these are these, Lloyd? I'm having
These are
trouble.
Emerson.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do see a radio now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, there you go. Hold it there. Now I can see the Emerson radio. Very nice. Okay. Wow, that's great. Well, you know, the one thing about collecting that is you avoid having the big expansion of radio collection filling your house. You keep it down
Well,
to
that's
a
why
nice piece of paper.
that's exactly why I did it.
Yeah, have you ever tried to recap one though?
Yeah, it always catches on fire when you try to fix it.
Right.
Here is
Viol.
some Magnavox and Majestic.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Motorola.
Nice.
Oh, that,
You know, again, I think that whole genre of advertising, matchbook advertising to a public where smoking has become more of the exception than the rule, just gives you an idea. Number one, how many people smoke for companies to pump this much money into matchbooks, and then just the breadth of products that were advertised. I mean, I as a kid generally remember it was correspondence schools and driving schools and local businesses, but you had all of these big national major companies coming up on matchbooks. This is kind of a very cool little porthole to look in at that.
yeah.
Could be a huge hobby on its own.
Yeah.
And remember, Paul, matchbooks were given out free with the cigarettes, or even if you
Of
needed
course
a
they were.
matchbook,
Yeah.
given out.
Look at that.
This one
KitchenAid.
is kind of unique. On the back, it says the radio designed exclusively for the kitchen of today. And then you look at this, and I've looked and looked, and this, have to look real close at this, if we can get this lighted just right.
Yeah.
That is apparently somebody made a radio and then put two end shelves for it,
Ah,
and it went in your kitchen.
I've seen one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've seen one.
interesting.
I don't know if anybody's seen that or not.
No, I've never seen one.
I saw one. Yeah.
Here's some Canadian Northern Electric covers.
Let's bring him out. Oh, yeah.
The bottom is National Union.
Oh, okay. Hare showed one only last meeting. Nice. I love the advertisement of that era. Find me an old magazine, and I just think it's not the article, so it's all those advertisements.
Here's some Philco.
Yeah, Philco spent a lot of money on all types of advertising. So
I bet.
now, David, just as a general, this may be as, crazy a question as if I ask what do people pay on eBay for radios, which unfortunately I think in general now is too much. The prices are just crazy. What do like vintage matchbooks, I mean, in mint condition, some of these look pretty pristine. Is it an availability factor that drives price, or is there a big hobby of this? I mean, what do you generally pay for something like this?
Usually, if you can keep it in the $2 to $3 and $4 range, you're doing well.
You're doing okay.
There are people out there who are listing covers for over $20, and that's no good.
Now, is
That's
that,
$15 shipping.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
That's exactly right.
now, is that because you have just, because eBay has that wide range of what people's perceived value are,
That's
or so is that, or is there something particularly rare that, yes, it's worth $20 because it's very rare?
Well, the availability of these are going away. There's not very many left. But to say that they're actually rare, I wouldn't dare do that. But a lot of people do. This is, let's see.
Oh, everything is rare on eBay.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing what people will say.
Yeah.
But after seeing this collection, though, I can understand why there aren't many left.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all in Kentucky.
this one, this is more Philco. The one in the middle, the green, is the one I find interesting the most. Don't know if we can see that real well or not.
Just try to tilt it a little bit. There you go.
There we go.
Don't buy Philco radios.
Don't buy Philco radios.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Well, you have to look at you have to flip it up and look at real closely at the rest of it here.
Whoops. Let's see. Don't buy. Completely Philco's. Wait, is something Philco locked up?
Yeah.
Locked up?
Many years ago, when Philco was going great guns, they locked out all of their 10,000 employees. And this was done by, this is a boycott thing.
God.
There you
By
go.
Philco. It's a labor relations issue. And this, on the back of this particular card is a match cover is by the Philco Defense Committee. So
I see.
How unusual at the point in time in history. Do you know what year that was roughly?
no, in fact, I've asked around and nobody can seemingly come up with, although there is, I think, information available about a large strike that did affect Philco. Nobody really has a lot of information about it. So one of the things that you, as a collector, a match cover collector, just like radios, certain things are of interest on the match cover, as well as now this is for Stone Radio, who was a retailer for the 1940 Philco radio. But what you'd like to look at is the match cover manufacturer and where it was made.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, this is, I believe, Star. No, this is King Midas Match Company. And it was made not in America, but in California.
Interesting.
So, and that's from probably the late early 40s, mid 40s, I would say on that one.
I was just thinking about the that Philco lockout, Libra lockout thing. It just goes back to the bygone era of, well, pre-Facebook, when you could just post that right up there on Facebook.
That's
and
right.
send to all these people, and it had to do with through manual advertisement. That's really interesting.
This was the Facebook. Technically, this was the Facebook of the times, I guess.
Yeah.
Matches.
So now, what are we looking at there, Lloyd?
This is a match cover for Packard Bell.
Oh, okay.
And a match cover for a Pilot radio brand.
Interesting.
And the bottom two are Raytheons.
Ah, there we go.
This is my Raytheon.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes. Look at that logo. It's very classic now.
It is. It's a vintage. I like the colors.
Yeah. That's my first job out of college.
I like. It's not really radio related, but yet it is. The one on my right, your left, it's a RCA, and it says, can't see all of that. It says basically, don't lose contact during the voyage. And if you can see, the bottom part's a ship.
Yep.
And then it's promoting RCA.
Marine radio, yes. On sea, on the air, and over land, yes.
Right.
They were a pretty good monopoly going there.
There was a, boy, was that, I saw that it was a vintage car. Was that like a radio in the car kind of thing, or is that unrelated? Like a picture of a car.
Which one?
On the left.
Next to the RCA cover.
This is it's actually a service guy. That's his that's their, wait a minute.
His van.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like it.
Service pickup and delivery.
Okay. Neat.
Here's some Sylvania. Okay, next time we do this, we'll know how to do it.
There we go. That's all right. We're doing, yeah, that's clear. That's pretty clear. Nice.
I always wondered how many radios you got into where you found one of these, because that's what it says on the back. Please tack this cover in your radio. And this is from service guys.
Ah. Oh, that's cool.
Sylvania.
That's right. Give us a call.
Yeah. Well, back then you just like anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I've occasionally seen the sticker on the back cover or inside the set, serviced by Ralph's.
Right.
Call such and such. Yeah. The little stickers tested at. Spivey Radio and Furniture Company.
Right.
There we go. I think I see the Zenith.
Now that's a sharp logo.
Yeah, I know. You can't. That's
an eye catcher.
The orange one is obviously older. It goes back, if you remember, the Brunswick one that we had.
Yeah. They had the best.
Maybe here's a question, David, if you're because you certainly seem to have quite a bit of this. When did matchbook advertising catch on? Because I imagine before the matchbooks, there were match boxes. But when did this really start to take off? Do you have an idea? Is it the turn of the century? Is it pre-turn of the century? Is it?
I have no idea. Good question. Here's one promoting just the cabinets, a cabinet maker, Radio Arts cabinets.
Oh, sure.
Very interesting. Neat. Stuart Warner, yep. On the left, beauty.
Oh, yeah. but we certainly had, yeah, there were at a time, I know that happened in Europe, where you would actually have custom cabinet makers. Their specialty was furniture, and you would arrange to have a piece of furniture where you'd have the radio, you get a receiver from whatever manufacturer, and they custom build it for you. You'd have this piece of custom furniture with the receiver.
And they'll be
Well,
specifically to administer the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
This is a retailer right here,
Okay.
Reinhardt's in Philadelphia, for service and sales.
All of these vaccines.
Oh, yeah, that's very nice.
And when you want to repair, you take it to the radio hospital. These are covers from service shops,
Oh, sure.
but I like the name Radio Hospital.
Yeah,
very nice.
I know. That's goes back. I'm sure radio hospitals, any of that stuff pretty much ended in the 60s or 70s, probably. Once you went to solid state, things started. You didn't have to fix it too often.
No user serviceable parts are inside this set.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not disconnect
Radio shows here. This is the shadow.
Oh,
shadow
nice.
on the top.
Nice.
I can see the cape.
Bottom, you're right, I think is one for the Green Hornet. And then a program I never ever heard of, Sunday Down South.
Never heard of it either. Ah, we have from George, he just says the Philco labor dispute was in 1938. Thank you, George. So then we
Makes
have
sense because, they probably wouldn't happen if during the war years. So.
Yep. Call, I guess, was.
And that was those were the fat times for Philco. So they may have thought that the execs were getting a little bit too much in their pay envelope and we're not getting enough.
And last but not least is this one for ICO Kits.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
You want to flip that?
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it over.
Should we be looking at this, gentlemen?
Hey, I'm doing it for everybody here. That is very nice.
We want to see the legs. There we go.
I thought
Radio porn.
Woo-hoo.
this was a family Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to restrict this to people of a certain age. You guys are
The
a little too
FCC
young.
will be banging down the doors.
Well, anyone who's, especially from the 30s are, familiar with, Art Deco from, who's famous? Maxfield Parrish. Reminds me.
Also, this is one of the last ones here. All of those folks who tried to cash in on the radio name. We have Radio Coffee on the bottom.
Radio Coffee.
Yeah, and radio brand coffee and radio brand sliced bread.
Yeah, sliced bread.
And
Radio dispatched cabs.
And the interesting thing is, if I'm correct, the store Ralston's, I think, was out of your area somewhere, New Jersey.
That name is familiar sounding.
New York, don't know.
Farina.
Yeah, yeah.
About 25 years ago, I was in China and I bought a can, and I still have it, a can of Radio Cola.
Radio Cola. Did it taste
I
particularly
don't know what
burnt?
it would be like to open it up after 25 years, but
Potentially toasty.
yeah.
Here's one you might be interested in. This one is from Australia, selling the Fisk Radiola, Australia's finest receiver.
All right.
Right here on this one right here.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Beauty.
I restored one of those once, but all the accents were English when you listen to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Take it out
Every
in the
so
outback.
often-
See what you can pick up.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
All right, talking about Arvin. this is one of my current Arvin.
That's very nice.
It's got the original
Oh, yeah.
decal on the bottom to identify it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sometimes you don't get that. Of course, the back on these are usually the same. Of course, this matches this sign. Let's see how we can do this.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. That's very sales and service. Forgive me because I'm probably ignorant in this one case. Where was Arvin made?
Noblex Sparks is the corporate name, and Columbus, Indiana.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
By the way, I got that off of eBay from somebody in New Jersey.
There you go. That's in beautiful shape.
All right. Anyway, this 444 Arvin is the same as your world famous Silvertone 8004.
Ah. Yes, that's really quite nice.
And then this also included, this is the 444, whoops, 444 with a handle.
Like
Only difference being the handle.
Portable.
So you paid another $2, whatever, to get the handle or something.
Well, this
You can bring it in the bathroom.
Yeah.
This particular Sears also came out with one that was white, I think a year later, or in ivory technically. And I think they charged $2 more for that one than this one.
Really? Same guts?
1 year to the next.
Huh.
All right. Here we go with an Arvin, a Temple.
So that's just
kit.
This is now, and the big questions that we're trying to decipher. This particular cabinet says a model 419. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Is that one metal?
Yes, it's metal too.
Yep. I had one of those once. I first looked at it. I thought it was a battery charger for out in the garage.
Somebody said it reminded them of a speaker at the drive-in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but anyway, the G419 is one model. Hope you like my organization I've got going here.
Oh, no, it's fine.
And then the G418. These are the only two model numbers that you'll find. That I found so far on a Temple.
Interesting.
But there's no rhyme or reason to what makes it a 418 or 419. Now this one has a handle.
Yeah.
The other one does not. And the question comes up. I can find my. Here we go. This is one of the handles, the plastic.
Mm.
It is. It's plastic, and I don't know how many of you may have one on your shelf, but I'll take whatever you can find. Very, very brittle. There's no glue. In fact, I've got this entire piece. They put them together with staples. They're stapled together up underneath the cabinet. Almost looks like a horseshoe nail.
Mm.
It's a staple of some kind, but it's very, very brittle. I don't know how you would ever carry it with the weight, because this does not support a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, the problem is plastic as it ages got very brittle. So you're putting out an APB frame with a replacement handle.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing, the last one I ever bought had this back on it. And Temples usually do not come with backs on them. And I can't, this one is engraved.
Yeah.
Yes. Does that the tube line up?
Yeah, with a tube line up, with a speaker. In fact, it's
interesting.
Yeah, and I've never seen that. But if you got 3 or 4 of those laying around, we'll take those as well. But
it has a number at the bottom too. Is that right?
Yeah, it's got the model number on it.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a model G418 up at the very top. And then it's got the address down at the very bottom, Temple Tone Radio Manufacturing Company, New London, Connecticut.
Huh.
Lloyd,
Yeah.
what happened to the chassis in those radios?
Oh, I've got it. It's in the floor behind me. I've got, in fact, these are projects undergoing, and I've got them since they're all identical. You know, it's just easier to do one and then flip through and do the others real quick. So.
Oh, yeah. Lloyd, do we have any sense of how long, what was the years that Temple were made, like their existence?
I have no idea. There's an interesting ad, and I meant to have it ready, but there's an interesting ad on Radio Museum of Temple listing. In fact, it's got a radio, one of the Temple radios on it, lists the colors, and then I think the price was $9.95.
Sounds about right.
So that's what you got. But I enjoy these little radios. Now they're not great at picking anything up. You need an outside antenna to them. But outside of that,
Lloyd,
I have
Lloyd,
fun.
did you ever play them? Did you ever play them on your radiator?
On the radiator?
Yeah, just play them on your radiator. Leave them on the radiator.
No, I haven't. But they do pick up, and they pick up. We don't have any AM reception at all around here anymore, any AM radios.
Yeah.
So we don't get very good AM radio reception, period, but you can hear stations far off, but they're just really being pulled in low. And you have to use your outside antenna, that your 20-foot cord that comes with it. Anyway, anybody have any questions? That's my presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing everything. The match covers were a treat. I had no idea you had such a great collection.
Well, I appreciate that.
Now somebody has a question.
How many tubes do they typically have? How many tubes do they typically have?
4.
4?
The Temple takes a 12S A7, 12 SQ7, a 50L6, and a 35Z5. Very similar to the tube lineup of the Arvins.
Lloyd, I don't own any of those metal cabinet style radios. Is there any in your, especially in your restoration work on those? Does the cabinet itself to the user present any particular electrical hazards that, say, a small plastic cabinet or a wooden cabinet would not have?
Well, yeah, they could, just like the Arvin. They're shock hazard is always present.
Yeah, I heard somebody mention bath time radios. So
yeah.
There's an old Rodney Dangerfield line. I knew my mother
Right.
didn't love me. My first bathtub toy was a plug-in radio. So
Right. The shock hazard is always there. So,
right. I didn't know if it would be enhanced at all if
no.
with that type of a cabinet.
Right.
But
Very good.
particularly, I was being a smartass a minute ago, saying, can you play them on the radiator? Because at that time, especially there was no isolation, and you had a 50-50 chance, depending on how you plugged it in to
Right.
the wall socket, that you're grounded or not grounded on
Right.
one fin. So the metal cabinet would be conductive, and you would get
Absolutely.
quite a spark in the
Right.
plugged in if it was lying on the radiator.
They had pretty thick coats of paint on them.
Temple also did make some, I grew up in that area, so I've been interested. They made some wooden case radios for a while. And then during the war, they got into some war production, some oddball thing. I don't remember what it was. And then after the war, they just kind of slid out of the way. So
you're thinking they didn't really survive past World War II?
I don't think it was, if they did, it wasn't much past World War II.
I see.
But the tube lineup is post-war.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those little 4-tubers, were designed, as the sets evolved from what a lot of people would say is the glory days stuff in the, pre-war. The reason, Lloyd mentioned you don't pick up much. Well, it was the extra set for your house, probably meant to pick up, your big local stations. Like if you
Absolutely.
lived, within 20 miles of WLW, you probably didn't even need a radio.
Right.
You could get a piece of tinfoil and a couple of coat hangers and rig something up. But, they weren't fancy, but they served a purpose for somebody who wanted a extra radio in the house and didn't want to spend a lot of bucks, but the signal
Right.
was pretty good,
Right.
And then again, there wasn't as much stray RF interference as there is now. So even though they were, probably not the best performers, it might have been a little bit better than what we'd experience now, even with a good antenna.
And they didn't have ferrite core, so you needed a
Long
wire.
wire.
Yeah, there was no.
They are cute to look at, and they came in a lot of neat colors and, kids' rooms, I would imagine, or
Right.
that type of thing. Stick one in the kitchen. Probably make toast on top of it if you had a toaster broke.
Yeah, a lot of those radios. Yeah. So Lloyd, how did you get started with the collecting? How did you start with like Arvin and Temple? Did you stumble upon this, or?
Well, kinda. I started with Philco. In fact, I had a lot of Philco to start with. But as you do with everything through life, things change, attitudes change. What you like, what you don't like changes. So I got one of these and I liked it, and it just mushroomed from there.
Oh, okay. Well, the nice is they're nice and tidy in terms of size, so they don't take a lot of space.
No, that's right.
I've seen a couple of people who collect in general smaller sets, particularly for that reason, they don't take a lot of space, but because of the varied materials they were made in many cases, the unusual colors that they sometimes came in, you put a good sized shelf on a wall and you can get a very, entertaining and eye-catching collection to look at in a minimal amount of space. And, again, for a lot of people, if the content isn't there for radio in their area, they may not be big listeners to radio anyway. So do you really need, a Philco 116 when you're not going to really listen a heck of a lot anyway? If there's something
Right.
that's attractive and fun to fix and looks pretty cool, it serves the same purpose
Right.
as a visual.
I don't know if everyone caught the chat window from Bob Harris, but he did a little quick research. In the 1945 Directory of Connecticut Manufacturing and Mechanical Establishments, both Templeton Radio Company and Radio Manufacturing Corp. Are listed in Mystic, Connecticut, with wood products and radio equipment, respectively. Then he also says the first Temple radio to leave assembly lines of Templeton Radio Manufacturing Corp. In New London was presented to Governor Oscar Dane, president in December 1945. So it did clear World War II. So these must be so this is a post-war radio company.
Yeah, well, there'd be some demand, certainly be some demand too, with, the lack of any new manufactured items during the war. So you could probably sell a lot of things, even if they weren't the greatest sets.
George, have noticed that the Arvin 444 was a 1946 radio, according to Collector's Guide. Thank you, George. So we get some people doing a little quick research here. So I'm
looking on eBay right now, and there's a vintage Temple AC/DC portable tube radio, and the tube lineup is a 117Z5. So that's obviously the AC part, but then a 1H5, a 1A7, two 1N5s, and a 3Q5.
Is there a matchbook cover tacked into the back to call for service?
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
Arvin was just one of the many ventures of Noblet Sparks. They were a pretty prolific manufacturer. They made all kinds of stuff for cars and space heaters. They made all kinds of stuff. There's, I believe there's a website. I don't know who maintains it, if it's an ex-employee or, it's Remembering Noblet Sparks, but they made an awful lot of stuff, and some of the radios they made were pretty good. A lot of the Silvertone stuff I'm familiar with that they manufactured was pretty solid stuff, pretty good to repair, and not bad stuff to listen to either. So let's see. Any more questions for Lloyd on matchbooks, covers, Arvins, Temples? If we're moving on a little bit from that section of the Zoom, we can. Does anybody have any unusual sets they'd like to share? There's a couple of familiar faces.
Yeah.
All
Go
right,
for it,
let's go
Tom.
around the group.
Yeah, go for it.
Mr. Pereira, I think you're muted. I think Tom needs to unmute himself if you can hear me.
Thank you. Sorry about that. This
No worries.
is Enigma Machine Beer. Speaking of matchbook covers, you could certainly have guessed what I would choose. It says DDH IPA with Enigma and Kashmir, India Pale Ale. And where do you think this is made? Anybody
In your
know?
basement, Tom.
You know
In
where
your
it
basement, Tom.
Say again?
In your basement.
That would make sense. Believe it or not, it's right in your backyard. Nobody knows?
Oh,
Littleton, New Hampshire.
Littleton, New Hampshire. How interesting. You must.
May I read you their description on the back? Our story. Resilience Brewing is a side project of the brewers at Schilling Beer Company. We craft bold and expressive New World beers that embody the struggles and triumphs of our journey. Drink resilience with those you love, preferably in the mountains and hopefully in a place as special as, you guessed it, Littleton, New Hampshire.
Nice.
Very cool.
So
ready for a sip?
I wonder if it was filtered through an old Enigma machine, if it tastes better than that.
I hope so.
The flavor is.
Nothing says New Hampshire like a buffalo.
That's right. I know. Running through Nashua, yep, all the time.
Yeah, look at it. Look at the front of the beer. It's got a buffalo on it.
I know. It made in USA, I think it said too. Let's see. Russ Tyne, did you have something to share this evening? And Russ,
yep.
There we go.
Okay, here I am. They're actually pretty common brands, but unusual radios. And I have 3 of them that I'd like to show you. What is unusual about them is their chassis are all upside down. I'm going to try to switch to our iPhone so I can show them to you. Hopefully this works. Bear with me a second.
No problem. Yep. Let me just add you in there because I think you're rejoining.
Oh, there we go.
Make sure you mute one of yours. Make sure you mute one of yours.
Yeah, I'll see.
One is muted. One is muted. Attempting to swap the camera here.
Okay. Let's get down the echo.
Well, this wasn't as easy as I thought.
Oh, that's all right. We'll manage.
Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe I can look. This isn't going to work.
If nothing else, in the last year, Zoom has taught everybody patience and ingenuity.
Exactly. Plus,
kind of like radio restoration.
Yeah.
Let's see now. We're going to get you onto speaker view there. So go ahead, Russ. Let's see if we can get you.
There we go. Okay, this will work instead. So this is a Silvertone 8000, and its chassis is upside down.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
see it there. I haven't done anything to the cabinets. Electrically, it's been all gone through. I kind of like it original. At least this was. I knew I wouldn't be able to reproduce the graphics on it, so
That's
nice,
beautiful.
cute little.
That's very up your alley there, Paul. You're a Silvertone guy.
You should look who made that. You can tell from the chassis code. Maybe that was an Arvin specialty right there. You never know.
You never know. I'll have to see if I can look. This is one of my favorite radios. This is a Zenith. It's a 6D414, also with an upside down chassis. Also unusual in that it was either Bakelite or plastic. See if we can get that.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Very, very tight chassis to work
Yeah.
on. It was pretty tricky, but it's a very nice playing radio.
It's handsome. I like it.
And one more.
I see you have a nifty automatic radio. I love those dials, Russ.
Yeah, that's I
to the
picked
left.
that up at one of the shows. It's just an unusual looking radio. This is an Atwater Kent Model 35. Also,
Oh, yeah.
down chassis.
Another upside down. All right.
So this is
I'm
the
getting
really
dizzy.
this is the real theme of this show is upside down chassis.
Yeah, that was it. So those are the only three that I have with chassis upside down.
Rush, why don't you have in the Atwater Kent? Why don't you have the tubes in it?
I'm sorry.
Why don't you have the tubes in your Atwater Kent, the upside down Atwater Kent?
Oh, I pulled them back out. In fact, I just finished working on that one and put the
Being a
tubes back.
smart ass again, I've had one, and usually when you pick it up, you drop at least 3 of them out of the chassis.
Fortunately, none of them fell out. So I still have them all. I have another 35 as well, both working.
Nothing quite like the sound of a Globe 01A dropping to the ground.
Nothing like
And the crying that happens afterwards.
Yes.
Exactly. The scream
Yeah,
that happens afterwards.
I think that was a Munch painting, wasn't it? The scream. Yes.
That was
Okay.
it.
That's it. John's got it. Anybody else have anything of interest to share with the group?
Noah.
All right, let's see if I can do this on my iPhone. This is my only Arvin radio. It's a nice little sort of a faux jade green.
Yeah.
Plastic radio. Interesting dial face on the front, and the control knob on the side makes the center dial rotate for the tuning.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got the on-off volume on the other side. And it's a nice little handle. It's called a 652P. And it's, like I say, it's supposed to be sort of like a jade green and sort of like a tweed kind of covering on it. And it's an AC/DC type set. So it's got a power cord, but it's got a place to plug it in inside if you've got the A and B batteries in there. And it's cute, and it's very original. There's no way I could fix any of that if something went wrong with the cover or the case on that one. But the only Arvin in the collection.
I like it.
Well, that could be your new niche.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those before.
Like you need one. Like you need another niche.
It's one of the few radios I own that I can actually pick up
There you
with
go.
one hand.
You get another one, and you could
Most
get your lifts in.
Most of my radios require friends and hand trucks and things like that.
Some of them, I think, Tommy Gates and pallet jacks. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, they and usually hospitalization afterwards for back problems. Yeah.
Let's see. I have something here. If I can,
please do
effectively share my screen here. So hang on here.
Yeah, sure. You should have sharing ability there, Paul.
Hang on here. Choose what I would like to share. Well, let's see. I don't really want to share off this screen. What am I not doing right here? Let's do this and do this and do this. John, if you could tell me if you see a radio.
I see a Paul.
Oh, God. Well, I do have the right screen on my computer here. Hey, what am I not doing right?
So you have the, you
Double
grab the
click.
share screen, and did you select the window? So you grab the share screen icon in the middle of the Zoom window, right?
So I just drag that over to the window I wish to share.
Yeah, so you hit share screen. It should give you a selection of what windows you want to pick. You just pick the one with the photo.
Okay, so it says desktop or application. What do I want to share? So in a window behind my Zoom window, I have what I would like to share with you.
Well, it's interesting. It doesn't bring that up. Usually it brings up a little set of, like if I do it right now, it'll give you a little sub window. Say select a window or application you want to share. So you just pick you just move your mouse on the window you want to share. It should give you, in my case, I have like half a dozen windows, but
you may have to double click to get it to go.
Yeah.
When you choose share screen up top, there are 3 choices: basic, advanced.
There you go.
There you
There you go.
You're the man.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's my middle name. I mean, High Tech Harry. So here we go. This is a front view of a little 6-tube set that was picked up at the one of the NEVEC meets for a whopping $15, and we'll kind of take you through some of the other shots here. Of course, flicker ads. The case was in a little bit of rough shape. It's actually an Atlas.
Atlas.
Now, the Atlas color scheme bore a striking resemblance to some 6-tube National Union sets that I have seen. They came out around 1946. So the glass was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And as we looked here,
Good looking cabinet.
Case is a little rough. The grill class, not too bad. And let's see, more ads. Chassis wasn't, particularly hard. So I splurged on this, and there's a fellow who's down in Texas who's good pals with Jim Sargent, and to say he knows cabinet work. I mean, he's a master. So I asked him to redo this thing. And the cabinet, I thought with that little scroll work on either side of the dial was pretty cool set.
Yeah.
And, whatever moron took these pictures neglected to get a picture of the label, which is half torn off, but, it has the dual lit sides for the glass. So it looks kind of sharp. And I believe, I have to remember this now, which, my memory is a little fuzzy. Ajax Manufacturing, and I believe it's a New Jersey-based company, but somehow I couldn't not believe that this is some kind of a National Union product thrown in a different case. It's a 6-tube set. It's not bad. It sounds pretty good. It isn't a DXer, but the look I thought was more 30s than 40s, and
yeah,
maybe I'll change out the grill cloth. It plays halfway decent, and just the fact that I have an Atlas, I mean, it's just not something that I come across a lot. I really didn't need this as often as said at swap meets, but the last half hour, who wants to take it home? So the price was right, and at least I have one Atlas to go with all the other junk I have down in the basement there. So that you can.
I like
see
it. It's a
some
handsome
of you.
radio. It's a really.
There's one shot here, and I'll try to show you just a little piece of it, if we can do this reasonably quick here. I have to. It's this. These ads are annoying, but I guess it's the price you pay for using this service to host. All right, so if you look above the radio, hanging on the wall, it's probably worthy of its own presentation, but it weighs about, I'd say about 25, 30 pounds, is a work progress administration placard that was ripped out of a sidewalk. Don't ask me who did it, down in the Seaport. We call it the Seaport now. It used to be the Fish Pier in Boston. And it was just, they were ripping up the sidewalks, and something like that just couldn't go to waste. So I decided to take it. It hasn't fallen off the wall yet and crushed any radios, which I'm waiting for it to happen, any day now. But it was a neat piece that kind of fit in with the whole 30s, collecting scene. So I said, couldn't let that go back to the melting, wherever they take that stuff to the junkyard. I'll show it some night, and I would like opinions as to what it's actually made of. It's a little discolored, and I don't know that it's brass, but I'm not sure really what else it could be. So
bronze, maybe
bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's bronze, it might actually just have some value beyond what's printed on it, huh? But anyway, so that's my unusual set for the night, and half a sign that I should have. If I wanted to show it, I should have had a better picture for you guys. But anyway, that's my story.
That's nice. I like it. It's very handsome looking radio.
Anybody else ever seen an Atlas?
No.
Anyway, all right. Well, at
My
least it's
first.
unique, if not spectacular. At least it's different.
I have an Arvin that I didn't show before.
Yes, sir.
Are you finished? I didn't know.
I'm done.
Okay.
Here we go.
No, I have an Arvin that I just remembered. Now it's not as fancy as it's a later one. It's from
AM FM.
Yeah.
AM FM, and I'll try to do it this way. It's hard to see it. It's from 1965.
Wow, last the tube.
6 tubes.
Is it restored, John?
Yes, I got this, I don't know, like a year or so ago. It's hard to see the tube complement is a hold on here. I have these special things I wear. It's 12DT8, a 12BE6, 12BA6, 12AV6, a 12BA6, and a 50C5. It's a model number 36R07. It also has on it a AFC on and off.
Yeah.
And 2 different dials for the AM. It's hard. I can't really see it.
No, it's like a semicircle on each side. Yes.
Yeah.
One's the AM side, one's the FM, and they both light up. It's from 1965, and they did make a model of this. This is the 36R07. The 46R07 had a clock in it.
Oh, wow.
That I know. I mean, it's not. I normally don't buy things like this, but it was part of a collection of stuff I bought, and I always liked the AM FM ones.
Yeah.
Trouble is, the FM never worked well in these kind of radios. It's not exactly like buying a Macintosh tuner from that period.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to show you.
Oh, that's neat.
It's for the kitchen table. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was a way to listen to FM, and the fidelity is decent. Anyway,
Yeah, it was one of the last of the breed too. It was the 65. I think Zenith maybe had some of the last two small little kitchen sets with like the X316 and that type of stuff was 68.
Yeah, I was thinking about 68 is probably about the outer edge where we still had
That's it.
tubes, and then bye.
yeah, it's not something that's valuable in any way. It's just I liked it because of the different half.
Kind of a cool design.
Yeah.
Moon dials for
Paint looks pretty good. Sometimes all that paint is worn off and they look a little shabby. That's pretty well preserved.
Yeah, it is. It has a Scotch tape mark on the top.
Well,
I think it was in direct sunlight for.
Of course it was. That's why it's
25
bleached
years.
into that beautiful harvest gold color
Yeah.
to go with your Speed Queen washer and range out in the kitchen.
Yeah.
With the linoleum floor and the avocado green.
Yeah.
What an era.
Mm.
Thank you, John.
You didn't want an hour. That's what I still got.
You should come see what I have. Oh yeah. The conglomeration. Anyway,
Oh,
any
did-
other interesting sets to share? Anyone? Comments?
I'd like, hey, Russ, I've owned a lot of those Zenith upside down chassis sets. And I'm sure you've heard the story that was one of the few, if only, sets that Zenith ever recalled.
Yes, due to the Bakelite chassis. They supposedly buried some of them, David, from what I read in the Blankenship
What do
book.
they call it? A repairman's nightmare.
It's
But
tight.
Paul Turney on his website, Tube Radio Land, has got an interesting article on those. And he says that he thinks that's really just an old wives' tale because there are so many of them still out there.
Yeah. Now, David, here's a question for you. If you're familiar with it at all, it'd be interesting. Now, if they recalled it, if they really had the recall, I don't know, whether they just, broke them up and threw them away, or was that something due to a revolt by the Zenith factory authorized service representatives saying, look, what are you giving us this thing for? You know, we got nothing but callbacks on it. It's hard to fix. Or was it something that never sold well? Because they look pretty sharp. I mean, to the pedestrian radio consumer, the dial is kind of deco and they look pretty cool. I probably would have bought one if I didn't really know what was inside there.
Well, unfortunately, that was before I was born, so I don't know that.
I wasn't saying you were there. I'm just curious because you're a very knowledgeable guy. That's all.
David, do you have different colors available in your collection? I think there was a brown one. I don't know the model number. Slightly different.
I've a lot of the ones. The one that Russ showed was the 6D 414. The 410, I think, was the same set but didn't have push buttons on the right. A while back, I had and sold a 6P, which was an interesting. It was painted ivory. It was a really beautiful set. It's the only one I'd ever seen, but it was a nightmare to work on. I mean, a nightmare.
Similar then, upside down chassis.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have one more set to show if
by all means, John.
Yes, sir.
It's a little weird. It's not an Arvin, but it's a Playmore.
Playmore. There it is.
P-L-A-M-O-R.
Yeah, with a dash in between.
Yeah, it's this is a private label set. It has 5 tubes, which includes a ballast tube. Tubes are a 6C6, 6D6, 25, Z5, and a 43, and a ballast. It's the output is the 25. Actually it's a 25. I don't know what the heck this says on the bottom. Anyway, this is a picture of the back of it, which doesn't show well in this kind of light. But you can see the ballast tube is the metal tube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a real cheap radio. It looks nice, the cabinet, because it's got that thing on the top.
Got the grooves. Yep.
Yeah.
But first of all, there's I got this from a local TV shop here in town a few years ago, and the tuning is really better. It's easier to stand up here. The tuning, just the whole thing, it's directed. It's connected directly to the capacitor.
Condenser. Yeah.
And
no glass is because they say 14 cents maybe, you know.
Yeah, this is an inexpensive thing. It's probably private labeled for a department store. On the back, the plate says RCA, Radio Corporation, America, General Electric, and Westinghouse on all 3 for licensing. And there is some labels on the bottom. It's just an odd set. I had never seen one before, and I looked them up. There are some with that same name. Some have the hyphens, some don't. But anyway, just another weird set, you know, an inexpensive thing that someone might have bought at the Woolworths or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, money was tight, you know, and on the installment plan, that's 13 cents a week.
Absolutely. Plus, you know.
Thank you, John.
Back at that time, people still remembered the Great Depression, so you know they try to make their dollar stretch. By the way, I don't know, Paul, if you saw the little piece of trivia that George posted on it was the Atlas Atomic Heater and Radio Company.
Atlas Atomic. Well, you know, I'm going to go to look at my label again. Maybe I can take a shot of the label and or at least just read it myself. But thank you, George, for looking that up for me. You know, one other thing I'll mention to this group, because probably nobody in the world cares except maybe somebody here. So I met a in-law married to radio royalty. I met a Hazeltine by marriage this week. So she's probably about 40 something years old. And apparently her husband has told her that, yes, he wasn't, certainly, I don't know how close he is, but yes, that was great grandfather, was the Hazeltine from the Hazeltine patents that you see the label in all the radio sets. So I saw it and I asked her, and she looked at me as if I was odd. And she said, "How? There's a lot of engineers in the family, and apparently, yes, they are distantly related to him. So of course, in her case, by marriage. But so that was my brush with stardom this week, and apparently nobody really gives a rat's butt about it, except maybe somebody here, I don't know, or some other arcane radio forum that I belong to that I could share that with. But anyway, she was surprised, and then well, why you even ask?
Did you get an autograph?
As a matter of fact, I did, but I had to send it to the state because it was for some business stuff. But yeah, and anyway, but it's my story. No sign-offs yet. All right, gentlemen. Anything else to add before we wrap it up? It's about 8:30.
Good show.
Lloyd, thank you so much for the tri-pointed approach there. We've got the covers, the Arvins, and the Temples, and it was all very well done. Enjoyed it immensely. Thank you for taking the time to put that together and share with us tonight.
That was great. Yes, Lloyd, thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. Plus we got to see a few things we don't see very often.
Yep.
So stay tuned. We'll drop some more information on the next Zoom, and we've got a few things in the works for different guests and scheduled topics. So we'll see you soon. Tell a friend. Have them hop on the IO group so we can get them on the invitation list. And we do this twice a month, usually, depending on the month, on every Thursday. So beats the reruns.
Before we go, John, could you just fill us in on the agenda for Sunday? Just walk us through what you have in mind for the day.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, so I've got we have 14 people registered, and we're going to follow the same approach we took in May. So I've sent the ordered list. I basically did it by registration order. I can swap times if people aren't, they want to swap things around, but we'll start at 9. In that time frame, I'll post a link at 8:30. So buyers and spectators can just join the link and sit back and relax and buy away. And then for the sellers, donors, solicitors, contestants, make sure you register with me beforehand. If not, I can take a last minute registration during the show. But everyone will get 5-ish minutes through the list, and we're going through the 14 registrants, and I can cycle back to the beginning if we need more time for various people. So during that time, like I said, what you could do is like the list I publish will have the people's location where they are in their city and state, so people have an idea of where they have to go in case they purchase something. But otherwise, for contact, there's several ways in which you can do this. When you join the Zoom link, you can change your Zoom name to add, like, let's say your cell phone number or your email address if you want to do it that way. Or you can do the old-fashioned way of holding a piece of paper up and at the first maybe 10 seconds, hold it so everyone can see it.
Sandwich board.
Sandwich board still works.
Matchbook cover.
The third option is if you post pictures in advance, you could just sometimes some people put like some information asking prices of all the items, and they'll put their contact information there right up front. So people, in fact, can look at the photos in advance before even Zoom Fest starts. In fact, I've created albums for every registered person. You don't have to use them, but I've created them in advance. They're on our groups.io photos tab. They're named Zoom Fest 2 and the name of the seller or donor or so forth. So it'll be just very straightforward. You'll get your 5-minute slot. You'll walk through your items. You can tell about them, make your asking price. You've given your contact information up front, so people can either text you or email you after your slot. I ask people, just don't call people and while they're in the middle of doing doing this. But
Sure.
if you do it, just make sure you mute it. To me, it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't interfere with anything. I'm not going to make a big deal of it. So that's really how it'll be. And don't forget, like I said, everybody's anyone who's registered has a number, because some of you, or maybe all of you, will maybe enter a item for one of our 2 contests. We have a radio contest, which is whatever you have. Vintage electronics, there's vintage radio, there's no theme behind it. So it can be solid state, tube, any of those. And then we'll have a non-radio vintage electronics, so that will be anything else. So that can be, reel to reel, Enigma, any of those things that fall into your normal radio class. A
couple of cans of beer.
A couple of cans of beer, enigmatic beer that's indecipherable. Anything.
It's probably how you feel after you've had a few.
That's right. And you start, if you have a 6-pack, whatever you say is, indecipherable.
Yeah, it's early in the morning. We are not encouraging this. It's just
Right.
a stray remark. So,
Exactly.
And John, the man behind the curtain, John Gibbons, who makes this all possible. So thanks again. You make it look so easy.
Oh, it's not a problem. Hey, you know what? I have the template that Tom and Bruce put together. So really the thanks goes to them.
All right.
I've done just
Collective effort.
little minor little tweaks here or there. They're pretty much the framework those guys done. So the thanks go really upward.
All right.
But if there's any questions or anything else, I hopefully answered everything. But it'll be a very straightforward, easy format. Funny enough, Tom, I think you're batting leadoff for this. If that works for you, I can swap things around if you don't want to bat leadoff. But I think you were the first one to speak up, saying, "Yeah, I'm in."
I'm in, but I'd rather not be leadoff. If you could move me down a couple of steps there.
Sure. I'll tell you what. I'll swap you with me because I'm third.
Perfect. Thank you.
So
I have to get up to speed at that hour in the morning,
Not a problem. So I get myself one and done. I'll probably I've got a few items, and then maybe I'll decide whether I think maybe I'll show some, contest something, but I may wait a few minutes after. Bill, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, when are you going to post the invite?
I will do it at 8:30 Sunday morning. I could do earlier, 8 o'clock if people want it earlier, but no later than 8:30. And I'll open up the meeting probably shortly thereafter for people to tune to, maybe no later than 8:45. I'll open it up. People can get those tuned up. Get a nice big mug of coffee in front of you, and just sit back and relax.
Single malt.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Bill.
A bottle of single malt.
Single malt. Here we go again.
If that's what it takes you to get through this your Sunday morning ritual, I tip my hat to you.
You'll buy everything on the Zoom Fest.
No, actually, I love this idea.
I was going to say, all the buyers are encouraged to drink heavily before joining the event.
That's right.
Well, that's right.
Is this the effect? Is it like radio goggles instead of beer goggles at closing? Is that what we're?
That's
right.
Here?
I'm sure these sets will be so attractive. They'll need no artificial stimulation to purchase. All right.
Well, I'm looking forward to people.
Should be fun.
Ask questions. I will keep the registration open until like noontime Saturday, and after that, you just have to ask when you join the meeting on Sunday. And I'll post the last minute information. It's in final registration and so forth. If you have any questions, just ask away. You can email me and so forth.
Post it in the IO group, and we'll see.
Thanks, John.
Not a problem, guys, and try to enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Right.
Looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday.
Good night and Godspeed.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Everyone
Thanks
have a good
again, Lloyd.
evening. Bye-bye.
We'll see you.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye now.
Lloyd.